The New York Giants, your New York Giants, you're 0-3. New York Giants have made the decision. We talked about it all yesterday, and I told you how I feel about it, and I still feel the same way. The fan in me is super excited. The fan in me, the Giant fan in me, is excited for Sunday more than I would have been if Jaxson Dart was not the quarterback. So Jaxson Dart's going to be the quarterback. They've made that decision. Brian Daboll has gone to the young man that he clearly feels is ready. He named him the second string quarterback early on in the process before games were played. And right now, they're going to go to him in the middle of this, going up against a very good team, against a very difficult defense, and against one of the best head coaches in the NFL. That's where he's going to make his first start at MetLife against the LA Chargers. Now, again, the fan in me is pumped. I'm more excited to see Jaxson Dart than I would have been Russell Wilson. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. I am ready for this new era of Giants football and see how it goes. As a fan, I'm excited. But I'm concerned that this is a panic move. I'm concerned this is a decision made because they have nothing else to turn to, because they feel they don't want to have a same kind of toxic environment at MetLife Stadium, that the coach needs to show off this quarterback. Like, I'm just concerned that he's not ready, but they're forcing it. And that's been my concern. And coming out of, he wasn't necessarily a project quarterback the same way that Josh Allen was a project coming out of Wyoming, and no one knew exactly what he was. Talented, strong, fast, but could throw the ball 100 yards. But what was he? Wasn't the same project quarterback that Lamar Jackson kind of was in that same draft class. Wasn't sure he was even going to be a quarterback. People were thinking about drafting him with the thought process of, changing positions and, what he was coming out of Louisville. So he's not that kind of project, but, coming out of Ole Miss and that Lane Kiffin offense, he was viewed as someone who was going to take some time. He was viewed as someone as one of the quarterbacks in this draft that probably weren't as ready to step into an NFL offense and was going to need some time. And I believe that, and I thought that was a good plan. And I am concerned they're doing this for the wrong reasons. But that no longer matters. My concerns no longer matter. It is time for Jaxson Dart to play, and what makes me feel better is there's no question that the minute he got into camp, the minute he got with the Giants, that notion of him not really being a project and not being ready changed fairly quickly, because he played much better in the preseason than we would have expected. He was named the second string quarterback, which, again, is not insignificant. You do that for a reason. No one expected him to be the second string quarterback. That was Jameis Winston. They went out and they signed Jameis Winston. Then they went out and they signed Russell Wilson. And they did it for a reason. I know people are still confused by that. One, you didn't know you were going to get a quarterback in the draft. And two, you can't go into the draft with the obvious nature of needing and desperate for a quarterback. You got to be able to, play the game, and not having a quarterback on the roster makes it impossible to play the game at the NFL draft level. So, free agency happens before the draft. And that's why they brought in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. And Jameis Winston took a very, team-friendly backup quarterback money deal early on. And then they were able to find room for Russell Wilson. So, I understand why they did it. I still would have stuck with the plan. But Connor Hughes was on with the Afternoon Drive show. And he was talking about, and I had heard this, and again, we'll see how it plays out. But I do feel a little bit better after listening to Connor and some of the other reports here, that the New York Giants are doing this at least for somewhat of the right reason, that they honestly believe that he has an opportunity to be the best quarterback in the room right now. And Connor Hughes said on the Afternoon Drive show that if there was an open competition to be the starting quarterback in camp, that he would have won the competition over Russell Wilson. that he outplayed Russell Wilson, that he was surprisingly good, that he soaked up information like a sponge, and that the Giants were pleasantly surprised with how quickly he picked up everything, and that he honestly was the better quarterback in camp. Now, he played more in the preseason games, but he did look better than Russell Wilson. He looked better than Jameis Winston. He looked like the best quarterback and someone who was ready to play. So that's where I'm at least starting to feel a little bit better about it, that the feeling inside the Giants room is not, hey, we're desperate. The feeling inside this Giant camp isn't necessarily, we have to play Jaxson Dart because the season's over, or I have to prove why we drafted him, or I have to do this to save my job. At least I do believe there is a somewhat significant feeling inside this Giant team, whether it be Brian Dable or Joe Shane or the coaching staff, whoever else, that there is a real belief that this kid is ready. And that going into this game, he's the best quarterback on the team. And it's time to make that official. So, look, I get it. I have my concerns about it. I think it's a tough road to hoe. I think after this, yeah, sure, they have the matchup against the Saints, which would give him a better opportunity to win. And, hey, he probably has a better opportunity to win that game against the Saints if he gets his feet wet in the NFL the week before. And maybe some of these rookie mistakes or these opening game jitters that someone would have playing their first NFL game ever, you get them out of the way before going to New Orleans, which is a very winnable game, and you give yourself a better opportunity. But following that is a very difficult 3-week stretch. 4 days later on Thursday Night Football, you're playing the Eagles at home. Then you're flying across the country to go take on Denver and that defense, and then you're coming back to Philadelphia to play the Eagles again in a 3-week stretch. That's a tough 3-week stretch for a rookie quarterback. It just is. And I have my concerns because I want him to get off to a good start and be confident instead of getting his ass kicked by the Eagles twice in 3 weeks. And probably having a lousy game in Denver and playing a very difficult game against the Chargers this week. So overall, I think as a fan, we were all ready for this. And typically, this is what you do when you have a dead season. And make no mistake, with the New York Giants and Russell Wilson at the helm and the rest of this roster and in this division, 0-3 is a death sentence. 0-3 is the end of the season. So I'm all on board. I'm bought in. I'm done giving my reasons why I don't like it. There's no point in it. He's going to be the quarterback, and now we just wait and see if he's good enough. And there are things I want to see come Sunday that I didn't see from Russell Wilson, and see if there's an offense. See what the red zone offense looks like under Jaxson Dart. See if he can actually make some throws across the middle. See how mobile he can be. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's not necessarily the situation they're putting him into that makes me nervous. It's the opponent and the idea he didn't get as much time to develop as we thought he might need. But the actual situation he's getting thrown into with the roster he has, I don't think it's the offensive line was not good and got overrun against Washington. I don't think there's any debate on that. They played a miserable game. Russell Wilson had very little time to make a play. They got absolutely run over. Dallas was a completely different story. Now, I know they don't have Micah Parsons, and that pass rush isn't all that great, and their defensive backfield was hurt with Bland being out and whatever else, and their terrible defense. We saw what the Bears did to them. I get it. But I still think the offensive line played well, and now, off of last week, and Andrew Thomas, if Andrew Thomas is playing, and he will, it depends on how many snaps they give him, but Andrew Thomas and Illuminor tackles, as far as the edge rushers go, and his blind side, I think he's in a good spot with the offensive line. I don't think it's a disaster. Now, again, Schmitz at center is not very good. The interior alignment with Runyon, I'm not overly confident with it, but at least he gets, I'm not saying it makes it easy, but at least he sees that coming as far as like getting hurt or getting, blindsided or getting hit unprepared. Like, I think the offensive line is good enough. I think he's got weapons, as I've been saying this entire offseason. I don't think this is a miserable spot for a young rookie to step into. I don't think the offensive line is atrocious. I don't think there's no one to throw the football to. I understand Tracy's down for a few weeks now. They got Cam Scatterboom, who ran the ball really well at running back. It's an impossible defense. The Chargers are very good and have played very good. And played very well the first couple weeks. and they're a dangerous football team. But I don't think he's stepping into some miserable situation that a lot of these first-time rookie quarterbacks step into, where there's no one to block for him, there's no one to throw to, there's no running back game necessarily. Like, I think the Giants are in an okay spot. What scares me is he's just not ready. This fan base is going to get on him quickly if he doesn't perform in this game, because as much as they love him and they'll tolerate him, and by no means would anyone say, go back to Russ or bring in Jameis. I think we all understand that he's going to play the rest of the games and we'll just have to live with it. But at the same time, he's associated and connected to Dable and Shane, who right now are toxic with this fan base. That's my concern. My concern is if he gets off to a bad start, the fan base is going to give up on him. My concern is if he gets off to a rough start, what the Giants have been unable to do for the last decade is put their foot in the ground and stop it when it starts to snowball. I don't want to ruin this kid like Daniel Jones was ruined. And I've never had a problem saying Daniel Jones was ruined. Never had a problem. He was ruined. The Giants did him no favors. He just happened to stink as well. But Jaxson Dart is now the quarterback of the New York Giants. Hey, listen, it's something exciting. It's something to sink our teeth into. We get to see the future of the New York Giants, hopefully, starting week number 4. And I do feel better that a lot of the reporters are talking about where it could have been easily week number 1 if they hadn't made promises to Russell Wilson. And if they didn't think he needed just a little bit of grooming, if they didn't think it was a certainty that they were just going to give him some weeks, that he might have been the quarterback week 1, that he's played that well, and that he soaked this up and he knows the offense. Let's go find out. Let's go find out. And if they ever win this football game, season back on. I don't care what anybody says. If Jaxson Dart comes in and wins this game, yeah, I would still feel like playoffs, you can forget it at 1-3, but then they go and take on the Saints 2-3. That's a season, believe it or not. And I do think he probably gives them a better chance to win, especially against this kind of defense. Maybe a defense that's miserable, a defense with a bad, against the Saints, could you argue that Russell Wilson might give him a better chance to win because he's more accomplished? Nothing's going to surprise him. He probably won't make a rookie mistake. He can pick apart a bad defensive backfield. Yeah, probably right. But against a good defensive team, I don't know if Russell Wilson gives them a better chance to win than Jaxson Dart. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited about it as a fan. I'm concerned about it as a fan as well. I'm concerned and I'm excited. But overall, nothing the Giants have touched in the last 10 years has gone well. Nothing. Nothing they've done, no decision they made is the right one, and I'm terrified they're making another wrong one here by bringing this kid early when I thought he should have waited at least 6-7 games. But we will see. The career of Jaxson Dart starts on Sunday. The future of the New York Giants starts on Sunday. And just saying that statement makes me feel a hell of a lot more excited about Sunday than I would have otherwise. So that's the positive of it. And I do think, and I know it's connected to the coach's job. I think that's probably being overblown because I think they're going to have to win some football games, and we'll see. And, yeah, I mean, if he plays great, 1, they'll win football games because good quarterback play wins you football games. And 2, yeah, it would speak volumes about this coach who's finally getting his chance to shine. So, but that's what makes me feel like it's forced. That's what concerns me. The idea that we're hanging our hats on the idea that this could save the coach. And I'm sure that it frustrates a lot of fans who don't want to see anything save this coach, but I don't want it for the wrong reasons. But I'm excited. He's got at this point better legs. At this point, probably, more tools to go out there and be successful. And we'll see how it looks on Sunday. But again, it could look really bad. It could look really bad. And as, Slayton talked about, you got to be patient. You got to be patient with this kid. But I don't want to see it. What scares me is 28-3, 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Giants go 3 and out, and he's getting booed running off the field. That's what scares me. That's what scares me, because right now the Giant fans are that pissed off at everything New York Giants. That pissed off at the owner, that pissed off at the coach, that pissed off at the GM, that the quarterback could feel the brunt of it, even though they're not pissed at him.